My name is Carrie Adams, and I serve as the Chief Curator and Culture and Arts Education Manager of the Carver Museum. We recently celebrated our 40th birthday, although the story of what will become the Carver Museum begins much earlier. Today, the small genealogy center that sits in front of the museum is a reminder of this institution's humble beginnings. The original structure was Austin's first public library and was located on the southwest corner of Ninth and Guadalupe, beginning in 1926. It was moved to its present location in front of the museum in 1933 and became the first colored branch of Austin's public library system. In 1931, the Committee on the Negro Library and the Negro Citizens Council appealed to the Library Commission for the City of Austin to help them establish a library facility on the east side of the city to meet their needs. At the time, 85% of African Americans in Austin lived on the east side. This settlement pattern was the result of racist policies adopted by City Council to create a Negro district where Black people would need to live in order to access schools, libraries, and parks. The library was not desegregated until 1951, and it is the result of the tireless and strategic efforts of a political science professor at then Tillotson College, Dr. W. Astor Kirk. This small building was always more than a library, serving as a place for social gatherings, entertainment, meetings, activism, and so much more. In 1980, the 1,800 square foot building became the George Washington Carver Museum and Cultural Center. And a new Carver Library was built because the original structure could no longer provide adequate space for library services. And in the late 90s, the citizens of Austin passed a bond measure that would support the construction of our current 39,000 square foot museum. This museum has a deep history. It's a story of Black people in Austin raising their collective voices and demanding space for their community. Today, we provide educational offerings to our community. We emphasize African American and African diaspora contributions to the arts, history, culture, and society. We provide ongoing classes, museum tours, school outreach programs, internships, visual and performing arts summer camp, as well as a volunteer program. In Larry Neal's 1969 Ebony article, Any Day Now, Black Art and Black Liberation, he proposes a new cultural worldview that centers Black people. He is aligning the struggle in America with the global struggles of Black and Brown people. 52 years later, Neal's article remains most relevant as his thoughts on the role of Black arts institutions resonates most deeply with me. In essence, he states, if Black artists are creating, Black institutions are responsible for holding and protecting these creations. Black institutions are not merely cultural in the narrow sense of the word. They are finally about the physical and spiritual survival of Black America. The African American Presence in 19th Century Texas is an exhibition that features the George Washington Carver Museum's collection of historic texts, photographs, and artifacts. Through them, we examine the transition from African civilizations to bonded servitude to a precious but ever so fragile freedom. With a special focus on Central Texas, the exhibition explores the impact of cultural memories of West and Central African ancestral traditions. African Americans struggled against the institution of slavery, embraced core democratic values, and fought restrictions put in place by Jim Crow laws. In the same breath, African Americans celebrated their emancipation. In fact, they built families and communities, all while insisting on being part of America. Narratives of resistance about African American life in Texas during the 1800s can inform our understanding of Black life in contemporary America. This conversation examines the contradictions of slavery in a society that perceives itself as a freedom-loving democracy. The persistence of discrimination and the legacy of second-class citizenship become central to our evaluation of history. Even after slavery was officially abolished, laws limited opportunities for persons of African ancestry. As we explore history to learn about the past, we can also learn about ourselves today. Ours is a remarkable story defined by the determination to gain, celebrate, and manifest our full rights as citizens.